Good morning, everybody. It's Daybreak here, and we are moving in and through the Garden Gate. Yeah, it's a whole new series with the WSU Extension and the Mason County Master Gardeners. I've got some great guests on to talk about it. John Scans, Mary Dessel. How you guys doing?
Really good.
Great.
Nice.
Thank you.
Happy New
Thanks
Year
for
to
having
you.
us.
Of
Thank you.
course.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked about the Garden Gate as long as I've been at the station. I mean, it has been around for a very long time in some form of another. And due to, of course, COVID complications, this is another new way to deliver the Garden Gate series to the great folks in Mason County. First, I definitely want to make sure you know the website, mgfmc.org. I'm going to put the links to that too in the show notes when we post this. But this is also a change in how often these are happening. John, let's start with you and kind of give us an overview of the decision to move to this model this time.
Well, Jeff, thank you. I want to start by thanking you as program manager and I-Fiber One News Radio and your credit union supporters for allowing us as a nonprofit to participate in Daybreak. Anyway, yes, we will be missing the one-on-one contact that we normally have through the Garden Gate, most recently at Public Works with our neighbors and friends. But due to COVID-19, we are going to try Zoom. I should rephrase. We are not going to try. We are going to do Zoom presentations beginning Saturday, February the 6th, for 5 consecutive Saturdays from 10 to 11:30. Cost for all 5 participation is $15. And through our website, which you're glad enough to post, people can see the information and the link to Cheddar Up where they can register. And finally, I just want to mention that we are on the I-Fiber One News Radio South Sound community calendar for all the information and contacts.
Mary, I look back to last year and a lot of folks were spending more time at home looking at ways to do things differently. And gardening was a topic of conversation. People were talking about getting back into the gardens and getting back to nature. And the series here has some pretty good coverage for upcoming gardeners to learn a little bit about, starting with Secrets to Soil. So let's start with that, Mary, and then kind of go through the rest of the programs.
Sure. Our first one starting on February 6th is Secrets to Soil. So we will be talking about how to compost, how to improve your soil. And because it really all starts with soil. If you have really a good nutrient-based soil, you can do a lot with growing plants. And then should I just go on to the next one?
Well, I have a question about that. So Mason County, beautiful forest. We got a ton of water, the rain the last couple of weeks. Do we have better soil overall than other parts of either the state or the country?
Not really.
Really?
The conifer soils are generally very acidic, and a lot of our soils are very gravelly from glacial deposits. So you really have to do some work to improve the soils.
Interesting.
And then we have hard pan at the base, which is this very dense clay from the glacier sitting so many, thousands of years on it. It's just compacted it and it's made it this impenetrable, space. So no, we really need to do some improving.
Isn't that something? I see we're learning something already. What would you call a niche garden? This is the next one on the 13th. These are just kind of small gardens or different types of plants that are in there?
Well, they're the word niche means, in French, it means nest. So these are like little nest gardens, you could say. So one of them that we're talking about is sedums. And sedums are these fleshy plants. They have really small little flowers and they're used as ornamental. So they're really nice as far as a highlight in a garden. And we're going to be talking about how to propagate and use sedums. And then also herbs. As far as buying plants, or not plants, but groceries, buying herbs is one of the most expensive things in your grocery cart. And if you can learn to grow herbs, you'll really enjoy going out and picking a fresh herb to put on your food, as well as many of them flower, and they're great for attracting pollinators. They're wonderful.
That's interesting. That's a good one. John, let's go to you on the 20th here, Gardens for the Mind, Body, and Soul. And that's kind of what I was mentioning at the beginning when people were trying to come to grips with all that's been going on, and perhaps getting your hands dirty or getting down in the dirt really helps to kind of center yourself.
That's right, Jeff. There's a lot of studies that have shown that getting your hands dirty in the ground is meditative, is calming. Also, there's going to be some suggestions in these sessions about different plants that are therapeutic or comforting by aroma, by appearance, by use. Couple of examples that I can give you is I always love to walk. I have a rosemary plant outside my window. I love to walk through it and water it to get the smell. I have some pampas grass. I love to run my hand through the fronds to really soothe and just enjoy the outdoors. So that's what those will try to be, how to do it and what plants work for those kinds of situations.
Mary, You Can Grow Vegetables is on the 27th. And I think a lot of folks start maybe their garden growing process with veggies, and they'll have, the zucchinis and the things like that just you get so overwhelmed by these. But there are more and a whole variety of great vegetables that people can enjoy and grow in their own gardens. When it comes to those, what's the kind of annual schedule? Are there certain things this winter that do better, or are these all spring types of veggies?
Well, a lot of people, if they are going to grow tomatoes, will start them by seed, and usually that's the middle of March.
Okay.
So many people will put little planter trays out in windows or under lights and start the whole process then. So this class is really a very comprehensive class. It really will give you all the information on when to plant, kind of monitoring your soil temperature, different ideas that just give you this very whole look at how to put a garden together and have a successful garden.
For just $15, it goes through the whole series. Again, the website, mgfmc.org. And wrapping things up is managing garden pests and weeds, which is another big one. You'll get the critters that'll come in and maybe nibble on the leaves, or just an overrun of weeds. Maybe the soil was not fully cleaned, I guess. What are some of the other things on that one?
Well, that gives you an information on like how to deter deer, rabbits, moles, slugs, and then also insects. We're going to look at the relationship of insects that will feed on your garden plants, and then beneficial insects that can be utilized to prey on those. So there's this whole predator-prey thing going on inside your garden with insects. And so those are kind of the highlights of that talk. And then Pat Grover, who is the invasive weed person from Mason County, is going to be talking about weeds. So it should be a good look at how to, manage these pests and have a successful garden.
Have you guys heard any stories of how the COVID impacts over the years and people becoming maybe a little hunkered down in their areas with their families have started to really make this a family event and pass down the gardening tips from grandmother to grandson or anything like that?
Jeff, I don't have any empirical information, but one thing I can share with you is that last year we did attempt to have a plant sale for Master Gardeners, and we had a remaining supply of tomatoes, which we donated to the SNAP program in Mason County, and 100 of those tomato plants were distributed to families, and hopefully we gave them the plant that was viable, as well as tips on seed saving, and we hope that those will continue and that the family had an activity growing and harvesting those.
I found an article the other day we were talking about on the air, and it was about getting a house plant to feel more in control of your life. It kind of gives you maybe a little bit of a sense of purpose. You've got to make sure you go out, and this is a house plant, but gardens, of course, too. You have to go out and make the time to put the effort in, and it's a lot of delayed gratification when it comes to gardens, and it really helps to build some good life skills, I think.
Okay, if Mary doesn't jump in, I will show you here. This is a succulent, which I started from cutting early in the spring and have enjoyed in my home all summer as it reaches up for the sun.
That's great. That is a great one. It is the Through the Garden Gate series. It's continuing. It's great information. So, the Master Gardeners had to figure out a way to get out to you, the listener. The WSU Extension, the Master Gardeners online at mgfmc.org. Very reasonable, $15 for the whole series. There's a link to the registration we'll put in the notes as well. Thank you so much, John. Good to see you. Mary, good to see you. Happy New Year. And again, thanks for continuing to offer this to the folks in Mason County.
Thank you. We hope to see you there.
It was good to talk with you very much.
Thank you. Everyone's invited. Thank you.